Functions. In this lesson, you will learn how to determine if a relation is a function, how to find an equation for a function, and how to graph a function. So when we have a function, we have a group of numbers or variables that are an input. You put it into the function and you get some output. So typically we'll use x's and y's. Our x is the input, and when we put that into the function, our result is the y value or the output. Now, in order to be a function, each input can only give one output. Now you can have two different inputs giving the same output, but you cannot have two of the same input giving two different outputs. So this is a function. You can have two x values giving you the same result or the same y value. But let's look at what's not a function. If you have your input, your x's, and your output, your y's, and you have some x values giving you an output, but then you have one x value giving you two different outputs. That is not a function. You cannot have one x value that could result in two different outputs. So an example of a function. At noon, a pump started emptying an oil storage tank at a constant rate. At 2 p.m., there were 1,680 barrels left in the tank. At 5 p.m., there were 600 barrels left in the tank. How many barrels were in the tank at noon? At what time will the tank be empty? So we have 5 components to a function: the words, the table, the equation, the context, and the graph. Our words is the number of barrels is a function of time. Basically, that means that the number of barrels depends on what the time is. The context, as time increases, the number of barrels decrease. Our equation is f of t, that notes that it's a function, that's function notation, equals negative 360t plus 2,400. Here's our table, and we got that equation same way we do when we're using slope and intercept. We take our 5 minus 2 over 600 minus 1,680. Sorry, that's backwards. 600 minus 1,680 over 5 minus 2. That's where we get that negative 360. That's just finding the slope. And then the 2,400 was the total number of barrels that we started with. And then we can graph that. So what you need to do now is solve this function and answer the two questions from the previous slide, and come to class prepared to discuss those.